Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A Wealthworks Summary. Introduction, the book that started a conversation. Rich Dad. Poor Dad was published in 1997. It has sold over 40 million copies in over 109 countries. It has never been out of print. That kind of longevity is not accidental. Whatever its critics say, and there are critics, this book introduced an entire generation to ideas they had never heard in school. It asked a question that most families, most teachers, and most financial advisors never asked. Why do some people work their whole lives for money while others have money working for them? Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two father figures. His biological father, his poor dad, was a highly educated government employee who believed in job security, steady income, and working hard. His best friend's father, his rich dad, had little formal education, but built a business empire through financial intelligence and investment. This summary distills the book's most important lessons, the mindset shifts, the financial concepts, and the actions that separate people who build wealth from people who merely earn a salary. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. This is the book's central idea, and it is more nuanced than it first sounds. Kiyosaki is not saying that rich people don't work. He is saying that the purpose of their work is different. Most people work to earn money. The wealthy work to acquire assets. The distinction sounds simple. The implications are profound. When you work for money, your income stops the moment you stop working. When you work to acquire assets, businesses, properties, investments, those assets generate income whether you show up or not. That is the difference between earned income and passive income. And passive income is the foundation of financial freedom. Kiyosaki describes how his rich dad taught him this through an early childhood lesson. At 9 years old, he and his friend worked for his rich dad for almost nothing. Then when they complained, rich dad explained, "I'm not going to pay you a lot. If I do, you'll think like an employee. I want you to think like an entrepreneur." The lesson was not about the money, it was about the mindset. The action, ask yourself honestly, are you currently working for money or building assets? If everything stopped tomorrow, how long would your income last? That gap is what this book asks you to close. Chapter 2. Why Teach Financial Literacy? Kiyosaki's poor dad had a PhD and multiple degrees. His rich dad barely finished 8th grade. Yet the rich dad became a multimillionaire, and the poor dad died with debts. Kiyosaki's explanation. Formal education teaches you how to work for money. It does not teach you how money works. This is the core of financial literacy, understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That sounds obvious. What makes it radical is how Kiyosaki applies it. Most people think their house is an asset. Kiyosaki says no, your house is a liability. It costs you money every month in mortgage, maintenance, taxes, and insurance. Unless it generates income, it takes money from you. A rental property that generates monthly income above its costs, that is an asset. The action? List everything you own. For each item, write whether money flows toward you or away from you because of it. That exercise will tell you more about your financial position than any bank statement. Chapter 3. Mind Your Own Business. This chapter contains one of Kiyosaki's most provocative pieces of advice. Keep your day job, but start minding your own business on the side. What does he mean by minding your own business? Building your asset column. Most people spend their entire career working for someone else's business. Building someone else's asset column, making someone else wealthy. Meanwhile, they spend what they earn rather than investing it. Kiyosaki argues that financial security comes not from your salary, but from your asset column. Your salary pays your bills. Your assets build your future. Real assets, in his definition, include businesses that don't require your presence, stocks, bonds, income-generating real estate, royalties from intellectual property, and anything else that generates income passively. The action: identify one asset you could begin building this year alongside your current income. It doesn't have to be large. A small investment account, a rental room, a side business. The category matters more than the size at the start. Chapter 4: The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. This chapter is about one of the most significant financial advantages that the wealthy have, and that most employees don't. Employees earn, pay taxes, then spend what's left. Corporations earn, spend on business expenses, then pay taxes on what remains. This is not a loophole. It is by design. The wealthy understand and use the tax code. Most employees don't even know it exists. Kiyosaki is not advocating tax evasion. He is pointing out that the rules are different depending on which side of the equation you're on. Financial education means understanding those rules and using them legally and strategically. The action: if you don't already understand the basic tax advantages of owning a business or investing, consult a financial advisor or tax professional. The knowledge pays for itself many times over. Chapter 5: The Rich Invent Money. One of Kiyosaki's most important observations is this: financial opportunity is not found. It is created. Most people wait for the right moment, for prices to drop, for circumstances to align, for confidence to arrive. The financially intelligent don't wait. They look for problems to solve, for undervalued assets to purchase, for situations that others overlook. This requires two things: financial knowledge and courage. Knowledge without courage produces people who know what they should do, but never do it. Courage without knowledge produces reckless risk-taking. The combination, knowing what to look for and having the confidence to act, is what Kiyosaki calls financial intelligence. The action: identify one opportunity in your current environment that most people are ignoring. It might be a local business struggling to find buyers, an undervalued stock in a sector you understand, or a skill you could monetize. Financial opportunity is rarely obvious. That's why most people miss it. Chapter 6: Work to Learn, Not to Earn. This chapter contains advice that many people find uncomfortable. Sometimes taking less money is the smarter financial move. Kiyosaki describes leaving a secure, well-paying job to work in sales, a job that paid far less, because he needed to learn how to sell. That skill, he argues, was worth more than any salary he could have earned staying in his comfort zone. The wealthy, he observes, are always learning. They seek jobs and experiences that build their skill set, not just their income. They understand that their earning potential is determined by their knowledge and ability, not just their time. The skills that matter most in building wealth, in his view: sales and marketing, understanding financial statements, investing, leadership, and the ability to communicate clearly. The action: think about the skill gap between where you are now and where you want to be financially. What is one skill — sales, investing, negotiation, leadership — that would have the highest return if you developed it over the next 12 months? Chapter 7: Overcoming Obstacles. Kiyosaki identifies 5 primary reasons why financially educated people still fail to build wealth. Understanding them is as important as understanding the concepts. The first is fear. Most people are afraid of losing money, so they never invest. But not investing is itself a financial decision. Keeping your money in a savings account with inflation at 3% is losing money slowly. Fear of loss is expensive. The second is cynicism. That won't work is the response of people who have never tried. Cynicism is often the mask that fear wears. The third is laziness. Not the laziness of doing nothing, but the laziness of staying busy with unimportant things to avoid dealing with important ones. The fourth is bad habits. We do what we're used to doing. Building wealth requires building new habits of saving, investing, learning, reviewing. The fifth is arrogance. Some people resist financial education because admitting they don't know something feels threatening. I already know that is often the most expensive phrase in a person's financial life. The action of these five, which one is most true for you right now? Name it. Naming the obstacle is the beginning of overcoming it. Chapter 8. Getting Started. In his final chapters, Kiyosaki offers 10 practical steps for anyone who wants to begin building financial intelligence and wealth. Here are the most important. Find a reason greater than reality. Your motivation for building wealth matters. Without a compelling reason, the discomfort of change will win. What would financial freedom actually mean for your life? Specifically, write it down. Choose your associations carefully. The people you spend time with shape your thinking. If everyone around you complains about money and plays it safe, that environment will pull you back. Seek out people who are doing what you want to do and learn from them. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your bills, set aside a portion for saving and investment. This is counterintuitive and uncomfortable, and it is the habit that separates those who build wealth from those who don't. Get a good mentor. The fastest way to learn is from someone who has already done it. Find people who have built wealth and ask them questions. Most people are willing to share if you approach them respectfully. Teach what you learn. The best way to learn something deeply is to teach it. Share what you're learning. It will accelerate your own understanding. The action, start with one of these. Not all five, just one. The one that feels most immediately relevant, begin there and let momentum build.